Okay, I was just talking to myself, and I was talking to myself about the notion of talking to myself and how is that a very interesting one. Like, for example, you can find a lot of people going about their lives, and as they're doing their daily chores, you would find them out of the sudden just saying, like, okay, now I'm gonna go pack my bags. Like, you don't need to tell yourself that you're gonna pack your bags because you already know that you're gonna do that right now. So it's very interesting. Like, why is it something that happens? You could say reactively, for the lack of a better word, automatically, perhaps, that we tend to speak to ourselves out loud or inside our heads about something that we already know. It's like, I'm gonna go get some water real quick. I need to get water before I start the podcast. Like, why am I telling myself that? Why am I not just simply getting the water before the podcast? Right. So it's a very interesting thing. Is when I think about it, it makes it feel like perhaps I'm trying to set things in stone. Uh, Probably holding myself accountable in some sense, getting my shit together. Is that kind of nature, if you get what I'm trying to point at. There isn't a word for it. It's a very mysterious thing, or rather, a very, not or, it's a very mysterious thing because it's generally overlooked, people take it for granted. Nobody really pauses and like, wait, what the fuck? Why did I say that? And perhaps that's the reason of its mystery, but there could be more. And I'm sitting right here trying to get a grip of this, as well as testing the microphone, even though I don't really need to record myself speaking into it, because as you can see, I already have the earpiece connected to the microphone, and I can hear myself in live or real time. I don't need to wait to finish the recording to re-listen to it. But again, so why am I doing that? Why can't I just listen to myself in real time without recording altogether? Because if you think about it, it's illogical in the sense of like it lacks strategy, it lacks efficiency. When I can just hear myself in real time, and then instead of that, I'm just gonna record myself and then re-listen to the whole thing again. But I suppose there is some logic to it that is not perhaps about efficiency, but rather about something else, some other value, some other benefit, even if I haven't intentionally thought it through, even if I haven't consciously made that decision before clicking record. But now that I think of it, it seems to be fitting in together, the pieces to be falling in together, that I would like to watch myself when everything is done as if I am some user, some client, some person who is watching my video, so that I can perhaps look at myself from a different perspective, see what can be improved, what is lacking, what is good, what I like, what I dislike. And yeah, you know, it's very interesting. A lot of things that we do are very interesting. And the majority of these very interesting things usually go unnoticed, taken for granted, unquestioned, not really thought about enough. It's like I'm trying to improve myself. Who is doing the improving and who is being improved? Because when you say that you're trying to improve yourself, that implies two people, even though that you call both of them you, but it implies two people. And from my recent realization, there is, in a sense, two of you, one of which is the experiencer, whereas it's just the awareness that is aware that this is happening right now, which you cannot be aware of, because if you were to be aware of it, then who is aware of the aware? Who is aware of the awareness? Who is aware of the one that is aware, right? That raises a different question. And then there is the other you. Sorry, before I get into that, the first you, the experiencer, the awareness, the one that knows, the knower, that one doesn't speak, doesn't do anything, it just perceives. And that's what is called the ego, the sense of self. And from that perspective, you are not the body, because you can't be the body because you are perceiving it. So there is the experiencer or the perceiver, and what is perceived, what is experienced, right? And so then it becomes very, very obvious that you're not the body. But it becomes very, very weird when you find somebody like myself, and I'm gonna provide an example of that. That I approach you and I speak to you, and then I say, I am not the body. Now, you understand what that means because of what I just explained, or perhaps what you've heard before, but in actuality, with no context, what did you witness? What did you just experience? You just saw a body saying that it's not a body. And that's very, very interesting. It's so interesting that it's kind of saddening that most people don't even notice it. I am not the body. Said who? Said the body. Because the experiencer is not the experiences. And one of the things that are in the field of experience is this body. And then, so there is the experiencer and there are the experiences. And let's forget about the rest of them. There is the experiencer and there is the experiences, which is the body. It's the same thing, like when you stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself. Who's looking? Or rather, who knows that vision is happening, that you're looking at yourself? And then it becomes a question of, does the awareness, the experiencer, speak? Because if it were to speak, if the perceiver were to speak, there wouldn't be any space for the perceiver to perceive or hear anything else. It's the same way when they say that you need to listen, to stop talking to be able to actually listen. Because if I were to talk, I wouldn't be able to listen to what you're saying simultaneously. There will be a shift of attention. There will be pauses in my talk to grasp what you're saying, and then ignoring you or over talking you, and so on. So then that awareness is not me, not that I am not the body. No, the awareness is not me. And me, the one that is speaking right now, is the body. Because this is literally what you're experiencing. You're experiencing a body speaking to you. And it does not make any sense for the body to say the following: I am not the body. Who's talking? The body. Saying what? That it's not the body. See? So, in that way, there is two of you, so to speak. There is actually one, because one of them is illusory. It doesn't really exist. It exists, it is real enough to experience anything at all. It is real enough, it is necessary. It is actually crucially necessary to experience anything at all. You need the separation for there to be any experience whatsoever. Because if you were to be in absolute non duality oneness, there will be nobody in the absolute non duality oneness to begin with to experience it. So when a lot of people on psychedelics or deep meditative states, when they go like, man, I was one with everything, bro, simple math, really simple math. You were one with everything. So there is you and there is everything, and the experience you called it were one. No, that's not that's not working out. That doesn't fit. There is you and there is everything else. And what you actually experienced is that you experienced extremely connected to everything else. There was still you experiencing the connection with everything else. But actual oneness, actual non separation, actual non duality is not an experience, cannot be experienced. It is no thing, no self. There is no one to experience the oneness. So, no matter how deeply you got into a meditative state, no matter how trippy you were on psychedelics, there is still you. There is still a sense of self. There is still the ego. There is still the observer, the perceiver, the experiencer, the knower. Yet at the same time, you, not the one that is hearing this, the rest of who you are, the experiences itself, this body, that body, that's you. And if you were you, the sense of me that you're experiencing, if it were, imagine this with me, right? If this sense of self, imagine that yourself, you and me, sitting right here, right now, and if that sense of self were to just go away entirely, do you know how it would feel like? It wouldn't feel like anything at all. Do you know what would be happening? These two forms will be talking to each other, having this conversation, except that they won't be experiencing, oh, me talking to the other. There will be talking. There will be a conversation. There will be a happening, an experience without an experiencer. And so to attempt merging both, the experiencer with the experiences, to have an understanding of the non-dual of oneness, is to realize that the experiencer is not actually separate from the experiences. It just feels like it. And I'll stop here.